Alright, so I'm going to show how to open up and disassemble this Toshiba satellite radius p55w-b5220. Okay, so I'm going to be replacing the keyboard on this. So you're going to need a PH0 or JIS0 screwdriver, and we're going to remove all the screws from the bottom. You want to make sure to keep the screws in order because they can be different size, shapes, and lengths. Okay, so you don't want to get them all mixed up. Okay, so we're going to just take out all these screws. One there. Alright, I did flip it over. We got 3 across this side. Okay. Come on, screw coming out. There we go. And then we got 4 along the bottom. Alright. Okay. Alright, so once we got all these screws out, we're going to have to pop. Well, actually, there are some hidden screws on this model, I forgot to mention. So we're going to have to actually peel up these rubber pieces here. Okay, so find the spot that's easiest to get underneath and just peel it up. Okay, just like this. Okay, once we got that out, we're going to have to remove the 4 screws under here. So there's 2 under each foot. Okay, again, try and keep the screws in order because they can be different size, shapes, and lengths. In this case, all these bottom screws appear to be the same, but it's always a good idea to try and keep them in the same place you took them out, just in case. Okay. Alright, this one screw is a little stuck here. I might have to use a stronger magnet to take it out. There we go. Okay, so now that we got all the screws out, what we're going to do, flip this over. Okay, I'm going to open the screen, and then underneath, let's see if this is, actually it's not underneath. So right on the edge, you can actually see where it kind of separates. So what you want to do, I just get my fingernail, you can use pry tools, but we're just going to go between that line there, okay? And then we're going to go all the way around. Same thing, pulling up on it. Let's go all the way around to the other side. Alright. Just use my fingernails. I push with my thumb and pull with my fingernails. But if you want, you can use pry tools or whatever. Okay? So once you get the bottom halves of these out and you get to this gray area, you kind of just lift it up and wiggle it and it pops open. You want to be careful though because there is a cable here for the power button, okay? The power button and volume buttons. So this cable, you flip it over to the side here, you lift up, let me zoom in. Okay, so to remove this cable, what you want to do is flip up this little latch here. Alright, once you flip that up, you can actually pull this cable out and we can set this aside, okay? So if you yanked on this too hard and you ripped that out, then you're going to have to look for a replacement cable. Usually I'll get parts on like eBay or Amazon, so hopefully you can find a replacement for that cable if you damaged it, but hopefully not. Okay. Oh, let me show this. So here you can see the power button and volume button boards are right here. There's 2 screws holding it in place. So if you do somehow break these buttons, you can actually replace that. If you are good at soldering, you can actually even solder these separate little buttons in. Alright. So now we're going to remove the battery. Usually, as a precaution, I like to remove the battery first. I'm going to actually switch to a PH1 or JIS1 screwdriver, okay? And we're going to remove the screws from the battery. So there's 1 screw here, okay? There's another screw up over here. Looks like there's 4 screws, okay? Then you got 1 screw in this corner. And 1 more screw in this corner. Okay, so just remove those 4 screws. And then we should be able to lift the battery up, okay, just like this. Move it back slightly, and then we're going to have to pull this connector out. So these kinds of connectors tend to be a little difficult. What I do is I use my fingernails in the little gaps here, but you can also use like some kind of tool in this piece. I don't have a tool that works really well for pulling it out that way, so usually I just use my fingernails and I kind of just wiggle this as I pull on it, and there we go. We got the battery out. If you need to replace it, the battery model number is right here, pa5189u-1brs. Okay, so that's the battery model number, and we're gonna set that aside as well. Okay, now here you can see, since most people probably aren't going to be replacing the keyboard, they're going to be looking to upgrade. We're going to go over the hard drive and the RAM first. So this is a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive, and you can upgrade this to a 2.5-inch SATA SSD. With the SSDs, or if you replace the hard drive, you want to make sure either to clone all your stuff from this hard drive to the new drive first, or you have a way to reinstall the Windows operating system clean. Okay, if you need help with that, just post a comment in the comment section below, and I'll send you a link for what you can use to remove it. Okay, so the hard drive connector is right here. So to remove that, you just flip up the latch just like the other one. Okay, once you flip that up, you can grab the little blue tab, and then you can kind of wiggle and pull it out. It's kind of stuck there, and there we go. All right, so this hard drive, there's this little tab that usually you're supposed to use to pull it up, but I always find that those break. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to get my finger underneath here. You can use pry tools, and then you kind of lift that up. Be careful not to like fling the hard drive over. So keep your hand on top just so you don't like fly it over. Okay, and there we go. We got that. Oh, there is some adhesive holding this cable down, it looks like. So you want to be careful peeling this up. If you're just replacing the hard drive, you don't need to peel this off, but yeah. All right, and this bracket, it comes out just by like pulling it to the side. It should. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, it holds in pretty tight, but you just kind of peel this out to the side. All right, on both, and then you just put this on the new hard drive or the SSD, and these little rubber things go into the screw holes. Okay, just like that, and push it back in place. Okay, all right. And then this connector we're going to have to transfer over if you're upgrading to a new hard drive. I use my fingernail in the little gap here between the connector and that, and then I just pry it out. Okay, just like that. And then same thing on the other side. You want to be very careful because these cables are delicate. Okay, so there you go. That's how you remove the connector. So I'm just going to leave it because I'm not changing the hard drive. The customer just wanted to upgrade or replace the keyboard because it's having issues, so I'm reconnecting that, and I'm just going to set the hard drive aside. Okay, all right, so we got this connector here. This looks like for LEDs, or I don't know what this is. I don't know what this board, oh yeah, it does have the LEDs on it. So this little board is for the little LED notification blinky lights. So let me zoom back out. Oops, too much. So we're just going to remove that cable as well. I'm going to be replacing just the keyboard as I mentioned earlier. So flip that up, pull this connector out, and then just move it aside. Okay. Then you got this connector here for the trackpad. Same thing. Flip up that little latch, pull the connector out. Let's zoom in. Okay, so here you can see this is the keyboard connector. And then you got also the keyboard backlight connector here. So the keyboard connector has this black cable. Oh, actually, I might not have to replace the keyboard. I'm going to test this actually. It looks like this just is loose. So I'm going to pull these two out just so I can pull the keyboard out. That means I'm going to actually be returning the keyboard if this works. I don't know if I should even risk taking the motherboard out at this point. So for some reason they put some adhesive down here and it's holding the keyboard weird, so I'm gonna try and peel that adhesive slightly. Okay, it's kind of risky. I don't know why they put adhesive there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna slot the keyboard back in. Okay, sorry if this ends up not being as useful of a video as you need. because I might not be replacing the keyboard, but we'll find out. Okay, so I'm gonna try and push the keyboard cable in as much as I can, and then once you get the keyboard cable in as far as you can, you want to push these little tabs back in place. Okay, make sure you get both sides. Alright, I'm gonna test the keyboard first, but here's the keyboard backlight connector. I'm not sure, oh yeah, this was for that power button thing. You got this cable here, which you kind of just grab. Oops, I need to zoom back out, sorry about that. Okay, so in case you didn't see, that's the one with the power and volume switch. Then you got this connector here, which you kind of just grab the wings and you kind of just wiggle and pull it back. I'm gonna leave it in there for now. If I need to replace it, I'll revisit it. You got this board here for the USB 3 port and the SD card slot, as well as the headphone jack. So this connector connects that board. The power jack is here, connects like that. You can kind of grab that and wiggle it just like the battery connector. You got the LCD LVDS connector. If you do mess with this, you'll actually want to reconnect the bottom cover and then press and hold the power button for 10 to 15 seconds after removing the battery before messing with these, just to be safe, because sometimes removing these connectors you can actually short something out, the LCD screen connectors. Okay, then you got the fan connector, same thing, the little wings, you just grab it, wiggle it, and pull it out. Then you got the wireless card, wireless antennas under here. You want to peel up this tape. Well, I guess I should check this whole, I guess you'll see once if the keyboard doesn't work and I have to replace it anyways. But anyways, you got the connector here for the wireless antenna. You just grab the tail and then you kind of wiggle and pull it up. It's hard to show it on this model, so if you want to see how to do that, I show it on other models. You can look for complete disassemblies, but you basically pull straight up on the tail. To put it back, you just make sure it's lined up completely and push it down. We got all these other little connectors here. I'm not sure why there's so many. These all look like they go into the screen. It could be, I think this is another speaker connector here. This is, I don't know what that is. This is probably like the webcam or the touchscreen. And then you got another connector here, which is also probably either the webcam or the touchscreen. So there's so many little connectors here. I'm not exactly sure what they go to. If I do have to remove it completely to check the keyboard, then I will actually do that. So I'm going to put these connectors back. So if I do have to remove that, then I will actually explain more what the connectors are if I can figure it out. Okay, so right now we're going to reassemble these, put the connectors back in, put those latches back down. Okay, I don't know why that keyboard was coming up like that. It doesn't look like it's seated completely in, so I don't know, I'm not satisfied with how this keyboard cable is sitting inside here. But it looks like that's just how it is. I'm gonna have to get my head in the way. I'm gonna zoom in so that my head hopefully won't be as much in the way. Or maybe it still will be. Yeah, it looks like, I don't know, this connector just doesn't go in straight, so whatever. I'm gonna put these latches back down. Okay. Just like that. Okay, let's zoom back out. I didn't notice that earlier, so I opened it before, but I didn't open it completely. So let's see. Alright, let's put the hard drive connector back in. Alright, put the latch back down. We'll get this one in. So this just pushes back down in place. There's no little latches or anything. Okay, now we're going to get the battery. Okay, just for testing's sake, I'm not going to actually put the whole thing back together. Let's see here. Completely. I'm going to leave the screws out. So let's pull the battery. I like to squeeze the two pieces together because sometimes if you just push the connector, you can actually end up damaging something. Alright, so this is kind of weird. They put the battery smashing that keyboard cable, so that could be what pulled it out or something. Alright, well, I'm just going to put all the battery screws in just to be safe so it doesn't move around. Okay, but the bottom cover for now, I'm gonna leave it off until I test the keyboard. I don't know if I could actually show the whole, well, I'll do the keyboard test and then kind of explain what I'm doing. So to put this back, you want this up like this, right? Hold it up, plug this back in. It's at a weird, awkward angle for me right now. Normally I'd rotate it, but this should do. All right, here we go. And then we're gonna flop this back over. Slide this top side in first, okay? That's how we took it out. And then put this back down. You can clip all the things back in place. All right, so I'm gonna test this first before I put back all the screws. All right, power button. Did I press it? Sometimes I don't press it hard enough. I might have to also plug this in. So right now it doesn't look like it's turning on. I hope that, I think my customer didn't give me the charger. So I'm gonna have to see if I have a charger that will fit this computer. Let's see here. So Toshiba, 19 volt, 2.37 amp. Okay, so I'm gonna get a charger and I'll be back. I'm gonna pause the video so you're not just sitting here waiting for me to find a charger. All right, I'll be back in a bit. All right, so I got a charger. I'm gonna just plug this in and hopefully everything's good. Let's power it on. Come on, turn on. There we go. All right, so also sometimes once you remove the battery, you have to plug the power in. So right now, since we removed the battery, I guess it uses that as also the CMOS or BIOS battery. It asked me to reset the date and time. I don't remember what the date and time is off the top of my head, so I probably can't type all that information in. I'll just do kind of a guess. December 2021. I think it was like the 5th or 6th. Let me see if I can check with my phone. It's 7:41, February 7th. Okay, February 7th. And then what time did I say? 7:41. Okay. So I'm gonna just set the date and time here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we're gonna go 41. I'll leave the seconds there because it's been, okay, so I already set the months, so I'm just gonna save and exit, yes. Okay, so now I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna test the keyboard, I'm gonna let it boot up, but usually to test the keyboard, I type there's a thing, you type the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog, or the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. That's how you get the whole alphabet, and then I'll usually test all the symbols and everything after that. So right now it's kind of starting up. Okay, it doesn't really show any, the username's not really a user identifying username, so it's probably okay. But either way, let me check here. Let's go to the desktop. Okay, let's go notepad. Okay, yeah, I still can't type the letter N, so I am going to actually replace the keyboard. So let's shut down here. Okay, so I guess I am gonna do the complete disassembly after all. Okay, close this up. You can still see the lights are on, so it's still shutting down. I need to wait till it completely turns off. Okay. I was like kind of excited that I wasn't going to have to completely disassemble this laptop, but guess I was wrong. Okay, man, how long does it take to shut down? Come on. Come on, shut down faster. It is shutting down, right? I hope so. I'm kind of worried. I don't want to like unplug the battery and start opening things yet because I don't know how long, if the battery was charged up or not. So I'm just going to leave that. Come on, shut down. Okay, I guess you can fast forward until I actually start opening the computer again, because you're basically going to be rewatching a lot of the disassembly. I don't know why this computer takes so long to shut down. It's probably the hard drive is just slow. So I guess oh, there we go. Okay, it finally shut off. You can see the lights turned off except for the charging one. I'll unplug the charger. Right, we're gonna pop this back open. You already saw this, so I'm just gonna go through it quick. Not really gonna go through how it's being done. Okay. Again, pop this back out. Alright, so this is just going to be a quick removal now. So here you can kind of see, I guess, the speed difference of me trying to explain what's going on versus while I'm just doing this for a repair. Okay, the problem is YouTube now, it's kind of, YouTube doesn't pay me enough if I stop posting videos, so a lot of videos, even though I've already done that model, I just do it again anyways. Okay, so here's the battery, just yank that out again. Oops, I don't need to explain all of this, I already showed it, so if you want to see how, I guess just rewind and watch it again. Okay. Alright, we're just gonna disconnect all these cables. Okay, keyboard, backlight. Alright, oh, I forgot. Let's do the battery or the power reset just to be safe. Okay, we're gonna reconnect this just to be safe. Though usually if it asks for the BIOS reset, it probably already removed enough power. So I'm gonna open this anyways. Oh, that's because I kept pushing it. Alright, so I'm gonna open this. Hold the power button about 10 to 15 seconds just to drain any power so that there's no risk to the motherboard while I'm removing the LCD or LVDS cable, whatever you want to call it, screen cable. Okay, probably good enough. Alright, now we're just gonna remove everything. Okay. So I'm gonna go somewhat quick removing all this stuff. Okay, just like this. Alright, this cable, I'm gonna remove this board because it's also on top of the keyboard. Alright, again, try and keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shapes, and lengths. You don't want to get them mixed up. This board just comes out like that. Alright, looks like I'm going to have to remove this first. This is the DC jack charge port connector. Okay. It's kind of in the way with the speaker here. So it's kind of awkward to pull this. There we go. Just like that. Let's see, is there anything holding it? Doesn't really look like it. Okay, well, I don't know what's holding the charge port in place. It looks like it has to be like pulled upwards. But I don't need to remove this to work on the keyboard, so I think I might end up just leaving it in because I don't want to risk damaging it. But it looks like if you have your charge ports broken, you just pull up on the back here. You might have to use pliers or something. Alright, so I'm going to leave that there because it's not in the way of the keyboard. So, sorry, it's not as thorough as you probably want it to be, but alright, we're going to remove the speaker screws. There's 2 screws holding the speaker. Alright, you want to be careful because the cable does look like it's running underneath, so we are going to have to remove everything else around it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just start removing every single screw I see. So we're going to remove the fan screws. Let's actually remove the LCD or LVDS cable. To remove that, I pull up on this while I kind of pry up on this. I don't remember if I mentioned the RAM. I don't think I did. So, okay, so the RAM is, this one is a 4 gig PC3L 12800S. So as long as you get PC3 12800S, which is a DDR3 RAM, you can get any size stick you want. You can get 8 gig sticks. If they have 16 gig sticks, you can get those. I'm going to leave the RAM in there. Okay. So again, we just pop this out. And it looks like this connector underneath is also kind of in the way. So I don't know why this screen has so many cables going into it, but we're going to remove all of them. Okay, so just get this cable out. Alright, I might have to, okay, it looks like the cable comes out. I just have to push it down slightly to get it underneath the fan. Alright, and then guide it out this way. There's some adhesive, peel that up. Get this cable out, and I'm just gonna move it out of the way. Someone's calling, so I'm actually gonna be back in a bit. Let me take this call, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, so I'm back. Hopefully this video won't take too long because then I won't be able to stitch it together. But anyways, we're gonna continue removing the screws here. Alright, so get that one out, get this one out. Basically just removing every screw that seems like it might be holding the board or anything else down. Okay, so once we remove this screw as well, it looks like we can pull the fan out, but it is being held with these little foam pad things. So I don't know if we can actually pull the fan. You can probably pull the fan out, but you'd have to undo the adhesives here. And since that's the case, I'm actually going to leave the fan attached. But yeah, you can probably take the fan out if you just undo those two foam adhesives. Alright, so now we're going to remove the wireless card, it looks like. I'm probably not going to actually remove the antennas here, just because I don't need to. And there's a little risk involved of damaging the antenna cables, so I'm just going to take the screw out here, and then we're going to just pull the wireless card out. Okay, so there we go, got the wireless card up. To remove that, the wireless card goes up slightly at an angle, and then you kind of just wiggle and pull this back. Okay, I'll see if I can kind of keep all of this together, so peel this out, and then I'm just going to move the wireless card out of the way. Looks like I can just leave it there. Okay, so we're going to take this screw out here. They do have little arrows pointing to where some of the screws used to be. So here you see there's no arrow there. So you know that you don't have to take a screw out there. And then there's another screw up here. Sorry, I know the lighting is kind of bad. There's like a shadow or something there. And then it looks like there's another screw hidden underneath here. So we are going to disconnect all these little cables here. Kind of just grab it and wiggle it. Okay, just like that. Again, you want to be patient and just keep wiggling it, and those connectors should eventually pop up. All right, this one, same thing. There's a lot less room, but I'm going to try and wiggle it. There we go. All right, and then we got the... Oops, did I not disconnect this one? Okay, let's disconnect this cable as well. All right, looks like there's some adhesive holding this cable in place, so let's peel that up. And then we're going to have to undo the speakers here. So there's two more screws here holding the speaker in place. Again, try and keep all these screws in order. I like to put them in the layout that I remove them, so that way I know where they came from. Okay, it looks like this tape is attached to this screw. I don't know why they have the tape there. It's not necessary. If you want, you can put it back, but it's definitely not necessary. Okay. Alright, get that tape off my finger. There we go. Alright, so now we got all of that. This looks like a wireless antenna, so you want to be careful with that. Okay, we're going to just lift the speaker up. It does seem like it's held down by something, so let's try and pull all these cables out of the way. Maybe the cable's holding it down? That's kind of strange. Oh yeah, so that is the white antenna that's attached to this speaker. I'm not sure what else is holding this down. Maybe there's a screw hidden underneath the antenna. I'm actually going to peel off this wireless antenna metal piece just because I think that might be what's holding it down. So let's peel that up. Oh yeah, there's the tape under there holding these cables as well. So it looks like we're going to have to peel up all this adhesive. I don't know why I hate when they put all this adhesive on stuff, but I don't know. Alright, peel this adhesive up as well. And hopefully after we peel all of this up, we can take the speaker out. Okay. Nope, it's still kind of caught. So let's pull up this stuff. It looks like, let's pull these cables out of there. Okay, and okay, I see. So the cables are actually sitting in a groove of the speaker. So hopefully now it will come out. It's still stuck. Is the adhesive stuck to the back end of the speaker? Wow, they stuck this stuff in really strong. Okay, yeah, there's the adhesive is holding it. You want to be careful because this speaker cable is going underneath. So I might just, oh, there we go, detach the adhesive. All right, then we're going to take this screw out up here. Okay, and that looks like that might be all we need to remove to get the board out. So let's try lifting this board up. Looks like these USB ports are caught under here, so we are going to have to lift it from this side first. And we got to be careful with the heatsink here. It looks like the wireless antenna is attached here, so I'm going to peel that off as well. Man, I hate when they do this with adhesives all over stuff that need to be removed. Kind of a dumb design. Okay, peel that off. Be very careful not to tear it. Set that back. Okay, so now let's see if we can lift this up, or is it still caught by something? Oh, we have to move this out of the way. So these cables actually are also in the way. Okay, sorry. So we are going to have to kind of unroute these, it looks like. Or actually, no, they're not in the way. I don't know what's going on there. That's kind of strange. We got the speaker here that needs to be moved over because it needs to be lifted up as well. All right, let's see the fan here. Try and pull this back. It's stuck. Okay, it looks like we're gonna have to remove these two screws here and pull this cover off. Okay. Wow, that's a lot of screws. Okay. Alright, so hopefully after we remove that, we can remove this piece, which I think is what's being the problem here. It's stuck on something in the center. So I don't know what's holding the center because I don't see a screw there. But the wireless antennas do appear to be all caught under there. So I'm going to peel this black adhesive away from the copper antenna adhesive and see if I can somehow loosen this up. Okay, so it looks like this slides back. There's this little piece here, and we got the wireless antennas out here with the wireless card. Okay, so they did make this trickier than it needs to be. I don't know why. Alright, we're gonna see if we can lift the board up now, or if there's still some other tricky stuff holding it in place. So let's kind of move all these cables out of the way. Slowly try and lift this. It is still being held down by something. I don't know what. Let's pull these cables out of the way. All these cables go into the screen here, so I'm actually gonna, let me just move them out of the way. Unroute them from that little piece. Okay. And again, I don't know what's holding it down. Oh, there we go. Okay. After I got all those cables out, it looks like it's coming up. So I'm gonna slowly lift this because oh, I see. Okay, so speaker cable is one of those. So here you go. This is the speaker cable. It just wraps around and plugs in right here. Alright, all of these go into the screen. I don't know why the screen needs so many cables. That's so many. Okay, but anyways, we got the motherboard out, so there's nothing on the other side. I'm gonna set the motherboard over here. Okay. If you're wondering, the CPU is soldered to the motherboard, so you can't do anything with that. And it looks like the speakers just stay there, so that's fine. I'm gonna leave that. We're gonna remove this piece of kapton tape. I don't know why they put this here. It's like a heat tape, but I guess it's to keep these screws from coming loose. These screws we do need to use, it looks like a PH0 or JIS0. So let's remove all these keyboard screws. Hopefully this isn't melted plastic holding the keyboard in place because I hate those. But it looks like we can remove this whole metal plate with all these little screws. So just remove all these keyboard screws and put them in the order that you remove them, so that way you can make sure to put back the same screws where you got them from. Also, there's less chance that you'll end up missing some screws. A lot of people, they'll take things apart and then they'll wonder where they got a screw from. Putting it in the pattern you removed it helps a lot with that issue. Okay, we've got another screw here. Okay, another screw down here. It's quite a bit of screws. Got another screw up here. And we got this zigzag of screws here. Wow, that's a lot of screws holding this keyboard in. It's not as bad as the Macs that I've worked on, but it is a lot of screws. Okay, so we're just removing all of these screws. Looks like they also put some adhesives holding this metal plate in place. Kind of stupid, but whatever. Okay, so we got that. This one. Okay. So many screws, I'm going to get a little bit confused with this. Okay. Jeez, that's a lot of screws. Almost done. Sorry if it's going out of view of the camera. Okay. And there's two underneath this speaker. So you kind of want to be careful, just move it aside. Alright, get these last few screws out. Last one. Okay, so hopefully that's all that needs to be done and we can lift this up. Want to be careful for all these cables. Alright, it looks like it is coming up. Something is still kind of holding this down. Oh, okay, there's one more screw here that I missed. Alright, let's see. Hopefully I didn't miss any others. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can just hold this up and out of the way. And then we're going to peel this thing off. I don't know why they use adhesive there. And then, because of the way they did this, I'm going to just lift it like this and lift the keyboard out. Okay, so it does come out nice and easy. We're going to get the replacement keyboard and we're going to put that in its place. Okay, make sure these cables down here for the trackpad and the backlight thing, or the little LEDs, are out of the way. And then you want to look at the old keyboard and see how they kind of folded these. So this one, they kind of folded this part so it's flat with this, and then this one they did the same, and then the rest they just folded over that way. So I'm going to try and fold it the same way. Okay, this cable, fold it to where it's kind of flat but also parallel. Okay, or perpendicular, which, sorry, like this looks like. And then you want to crease it, but don't push too hard because you can damage the stuff. This one, I don't know why they put an adhesive to hold this part here, because I need to fold it there. So I'm going to peel up some of the adhesive and then fold it. Alright, and then I'm going to put the cable through here, just like that. Get these cables on top. Alright, it looks like it lays in very nicely. Now we want to make sure that the screw holes line back up. Okay. The little adhesive here is kind of making it difficult, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up this one little corner here first. I'm going to put this screw in first. There we go. And I'm going to get this corner. Okay, that worked. Make sure, again, make sure these cables don't end up underneath, every time you lift it up, it kind of want to go back under there. Okay, let's get the other screw here. Try and get that lined up. You might have to kind of pull it over some. There we go. Alright, it's kind of a little tough to line this up, but just do, I'm going to zoom out a little so you can see a bit better. Okay, get all of those lined up. I'm going to put this random screw that was here that I almost forgot. I guess I did forget it. Alright, and then let's put back all the rest of these little screws. So many screws in this thing. Okay. And toss aside the old keyboard because that's broken. Alright, and get the screws that were under here. Alright. Hopefully this keyboard solves the problem. Sometimes it's not a keyboard issue, but it definitely looked like it was a keyboard issue. Okay, move the speaker back out of the way. Alright, let's see. So we got these. Hopefully I'm not missing any random screws, because it does get confusing after there's so many. Alright, I'm going to go over to this side. You want to make sure there's no cables getting caught under there. Okay, it looks like we're good. Alright, so far so good, it seems. Get this one. Alright, there's a little divot here that makes sure the keyboard is in place, so that's nice. Hopefully I'm not mixing up some, because some of these screws I kind of have in a weird pattern. So let's see here. Looks like we're getting them all though. Hopefully there weren't additional holes. Sometimes on some of these they'll have additional screw holes and then you put it in the wrong ones. But as long as they're evenly spaced, it shouldn't be an issue. Okay. Almost there. Only 4 left to go, or so it seems. Oh yeah, okay, only 4 left. I can see that there's only 4 more. Okay. All right. Last keyboard screw, and then we gotta put back all the weird stuff. Alright, so now we're gonna put back the wireless antennas and this connector. Move the speakers out of the way, make sure that they stay in the little slots that they were in. Okay, so the antennas, again, there's this little piece here that slots in. So you want to make sure that goes through that same slot. Okay, slide this underneath here. this little piece here, push that in, it somewhat clicks in place. Alright, we'll get these screws. I'm going to switch back to the PH1 or JIS1 screwdriver. Alright, and then we're going to get this lined up, put that screw in, get the other one, make sure all these cables are kind of out of the way. Alright, get that one in as well. Okay, so now we've got all of that. Now the somewhat tricky part, because this is all going to have to like go on top of the main board. It's easier to take it out than to put back, because now when you put it back you have to make sure everything ends up on the right side of the board. So move all of these up. Get the USB ports in first on this side at an angle. Again, you have to make sure all these cables end up on top, otherwise you're going to have some problems. Okay, so this one, the keyboard and the keyboard backlight cables, all of these cables, move the speaker out of the way. Alright, there's so many cables that have to go with this. You got the wireless card here that's ending up underneath, so this is going to be, yeah, this is going to be kind of a pain. Let's see here, how am I going to do this? So let's pull all of these out of the way. It helps if you have like someone to kind of help you, but I don't, so we're going to have to see what I can do. There we go. Hopefully this will be good enough. I'm going to tuck this cable underneath the speaker here to hopefully that it helps hold it out of the way. Right? Again, also make sure that you're keeping yourself grounded so that you don't release some static discharge on the board and then damage everything. Come on. USB ports need to make sure they go in right. There we go. And then I'm going to pull these cables out with my screwdriver. You want to be careful not to damage them. Okay. Uh-oh, did all those cables fall back in? Yeah, this is going to be a real pain. Okay, I'm going to actually, let's pull this up. Okay, let's pull this back out. What I'm going to do, I'm going to tape this keyboard cable down because it keeps popping back up and that's annoying. So I'm going to use this tape just to kind of hold it in place. If you want, I guess you can tape down the other ones, but the main one's that keyboard one that keeps being annoying. The rest I can kind of hold by hand, it looks like. I hope. Alright, let's get this back in. USB side first. Then you want to line up the little thing that sticks up there. Alright, get that over. Alright, so let's see if that will work while I'm holding these cables in place. So line up that, there we go. And slowly drop this into there. Make sure all these cables are on top. Looks like they're staying on top, which is good. Get all of these out of the way. Oops, I have to take this piece back out. Okay. I forgot, we have to put this one after we get the board in. Okay, so I'm going to take the wireless antenna board back out. Come on. There we go. Get all of these cables out of the way. So that helps actually quite a bit. So we got all of those. Okay, we got this speaker here. So this speaker cable is supposed to go underneath. Let me redo this again. It's going to take a lot of retries. Okay. So let's get this speaker thing back under here, because the speakers are supposed to just line up over here. So okay, hopefully I can leave that speaker thing in place and then get this lined up. Alright, pull this cable back out, that cable out, this cable, this is the speaker cable. Okay, get that back out. And I think that worked better, a lot better. Okay, so hopefully I'm not missing any connectors. We got those two. We got this. It looks like there's a slot here that can... Actually, I don't know if that's an M... Oh, wait, that's... Sorry, my bad. That's just the wireless. I was like, oh, there's an extra slot for an SSD, but nope. Alright, so we got all of that. We got all of that. Alright, so now let's put back these screws for the speaker, or at least one of them, so it doesn't move all over the place. Alright, I'm going to just put that loosely because it looks like this cable was tucked underneath there. So I'm going to plug this cable in first. Just get it lined up. Alright, and then squeeze the two pieces together, just like this. Make sure it's nice and snug. Alright, I don't remember if this tape was doing anything other than just being on top. I think it was just on top of the whole thing. So this tape wrapped over itself, so now it's all stuck. It's not really necessary, all this tape, but if you want to put it back the way you got it, then I need to undo this tape here. Usually I like to put back everything the way I got it as best as I can, even if it's pointless. Okay, so I'm gonna try and get this screw. Is that even going in? Oh yeah, okay. So we got that screw in. I'm gonna get this screw. Okay, this tape was just on top of the screw, so I'm gonna move that aside for now and put this screw in first. There we go. I'm gonna reattach some of these cables first. Let's put that back in. Alright. Alright, all these cables, hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Make sure the latch is up. Peel this tape off, I don't need it anymore. Right, make sure the latch is up, get that cable in place. Okay, slot it in, and put the latch down. Keyboard cable, now it doesn't have the adhesive on it. There's the old adhesive there, but let's slot this keyboard cable in. Okay, make sure the keyboard connector goes in all the way, and then push this thing on both sides evenly. Okay, squeeze the two together like that. Keyboard backlight connector, same thing. Line it up, slot it in, flip it down. Okay, so now this cable, if I remember correctly, actually went through this little groove here. So it goes around there. I don't know if it had to go underneath that groove, but it definitely was in this groove up here. And then it looks like it curves around here, so let's just put that back in there. And then we'll put this tape back down. Alright, we got all these connectors here. All this tape here that the wireless antenna connected on top of. So now we're going to plug in these cables, plug in this 2-pin one, squeeze the two together just like that, plug in this one, make sure that the connectors are lined up before you squeeze them together, alright, just like that. And then it looks like these cables were all going into this little groove here. Again, I don't remember if this was so far over there, so I'm going to actually pull some back over here and then just be careful with that cable. Okay, just like that. Let's get this back in this little groove here. Alright, so these cables go in the speaker groove there, and then this tape just wraps over the top of them. Okay, just like that. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna have to put some of these screws back before I forget. So let's put back this screw here. And this one I want to put back before I get all these cables in the way. So we'll put this one here. Alright, there we go. Those are all connected. Let's plug back in the speaker cable. Squeeze the two together, just like that. Alright, this speaker was right here, so I don't really need to take it out. I'm going to put the speaker screws back in. this is a pretty complex keyboard replacement. Alright, so we got that. Let's route this over here and plug back in the DC jack or the charge port. Okay, make sure to get it lined up and then squeeze the two together. There we go. We've got this connector here and this one. Okay, this one went up here, so this goes underneath the fan. So I'm gonna, let's see here, let's stick this back down first. Okay. This routed behind this little plastic piece right up against the fan. So let's get those back in there. Okay. And we'll route these cables in as well. Oops. Let's pop them back out. Lift the fan up, get that under. There's a screw here, so I'm actually going to put these screws back just so I can do that before I can't reach them anymore. Am I mixing something up here? Oops. Not this screw, sorry. Okay, grab this screw here. Grab this screw, move the cables out of the way, make sure you don't clamp them down with the screw. Okay. There we go. We'll grab this screw that's all the way down here. Okay, then we got this screw that's here. Oh, there's no screw there, so we got this screw here. Am I missing one? I must be missing something. I did, one of the screws I think I missed somewhere. Let's see, I don't think there was one there because that goes for the thing. Yeah, I did miss one screw somewhere. This is the middle one. There's no screw here. Where did I get an extra screw that I didn't put back? Let's see. Got all of those, got all of those. I might have to rewatch my video. Or actually, I think the one I missed is the wireless card screw. Okay. So, let's put this back. I'll double check it later. Okay. Gonna unravel this tape so I can reuse it. Though I think it was already folded over on itself. I don't know if I can unfold this side. This is the side that was already folded on itself. So let's see, I'll try. Yeah, I don't think I can unravel that. I'm gonna try with a needle. If I can't do it with that, then too bad. Okay, it is somewhat coming apart. Let's separate this. There we go. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to set this tape aside. That's for the wireless card. And then this tape was... Oh no, I didn't put this tape underneath. Oh, I'm going to have to take it all back out again. Or at least partially. Let's... these screws back out. Oh man, this is going to be a very long video. Okay. Oh gosh. Hope I don't have to take everything back out to get these screws back in, but guess we'll find out. It looks like the screws for the fans are slightly longer, so if you are taking this out, keep that in mind. The two screws holding this fan. Okay, alright. Is that all the screws I need to take out? I'm gonna have to undo all these cables again. Shoot. Oh man. I don't like to leave things out, so it's kind of makes me have to do a lot more work because I forget some stuff sometimes. All right, let's see. Can I lift this up without taking all these cables out? I'm gonna try and just lift this just enough. Let's see if I can. It has to clear this, and then I can hopefully pull this back. Come on. It looks like it's gonna work. Kind of, somewhat. Nope, I might have to actually take it all apart. Oh, okay, it worked. Good. Now I can put this piece of tape back over these little screws. I'm going to try and line it back up the way it was before with the tape has marks on it from where the screws were before. Okay. Alright, so we got that back in. Alright, now let's try and get this back on without having to take all those cables back out. Let's lift the USB ports. Okay, there we go. Nice, I didn't have to undo everything completely. Alright, make sure everything sits back in place, alright. Okay, make sure all these connectors are still in and didn't come loose. Let's reconnect all these. Okay. Sorry, this video is ending up longer than I was expecting because of all these kind of redos and whatever. And I hope this keyboard works after that, or all of this was kind of for nothing. So let's hope. Okay. This keyboard backlight. Okay, there we go. Put this back in. Alright, let's guide this back over here. Guide this back underneath. Okay. This cable can go first. Line that up. Alright, squeeze the two together, just like that. I think this is the touchscreen cable. Okay, that back in. LCD connector, line it up, push it back down. There we go. Alright, I probably should put back those screws because I'm not doing them in order, and then it's going to be hard to put back. Okay, I hope it's going to let me stitch this video together. Okay, grab that screw, let's get it underneath there. Okay. Alright, then the screw. Alright, so let's see here. We got these. Let's put back this board here. Goes up slightly at an angle. Okay, line it up with the little things that stick up. Screw in place. Okay, just like this. Alright, make sure all the screws are nice and tight. Put this one back in. Make sure it's all lined up. Come on, there we go. Squeeze the two pieces together, just like that. Okay, that cable's for the power button. Leave that up. All of these are in. Okay, so the wireless card next. Again, it has to line up and go into that notch. So this one's a little bit tricky. You do have to kind of tilt it down because this little tab needs to go down into that notch. Right? Make sure that's all nice and taped down in place the way you want it. Okay, get into that notch. And then let's push that in, just like that. There we go. Wireless antenna over that black piece of tape. It's not going to stick as well, but hopefully it should be okay. There you go. Don't put too much pressure on this copper heat pipe, because if you bend it, it's going to cause some issues. It might not cool properly. All right. That screw. Okay. Grab this screw. Alright, we're almost done. Looks like all of that's connected. That's connected. Double check all the connections. Alright, wireless card. I hope that screw is the one that I was pretty sure that's for the wireless card. Okay, get that screw in. Yep, okay. Go, make sure it's good. Get that adhesive that was there. It was kind of wrapped over, but I'm gonna do it better. So I'm gonna put it back like this. Alright. Just like this. Okay, and I think that's everything. Let's put back the hard drive. Alright. Hopefully you can see. Get that cable in place, put that latch down. Alright, hard drive, you just kind of guide it back in and then it just pushes down, pressure fit. Okay, just like that. You can push this adhesive back in place. Alright, those all look like they're in. Okay, I think we are good to go. Let's put the battery. Get the battery, line it up. Squeeze the two pieces together. Get the battery back in. You want the battery to go actually on top of the keyboard and the keyboard backlight cables. Alright, hopefully that won't actually damage them, but that's how it was before, so. Alright, get these screws in for the battery. That's one. Alright, so now we've got everything reassembled. Should hopefully be good to go. Let's put the cover back on and then test and make sure the keyboard works again. Right, hopefully this time the keyboard will actually work. This adhesive, I don't think they ever go back well. But I'm gonna leave it like that. Hopefully the pressure of the case will push it down. Okay, so now let's get this cable back in. Sorry, my head's getting in the way again. Alright, flip that latch down. We are going to have to set the date and time again. This side goes in first, the upper side. Okay, slide it in just like that. And clip all of this down. Alright, so let's turn this back over, plug it back in, and power it up and see how it goes. Hopefully the keyboard is good, because that was kind of a pain, and I don't want to have to take it back out just to return that keyboard. Alright, let's turn it back on. Power button. Okay, these lights came on, so that means it's good. Right, it's asking for the date and time again. I'm going to check again. Okay, the date and time, 8:37, February 7th. And then 37. Okay, that's probably fine. Let's add a few seconds. And then, what was it? February 7th, 2021. Okay. Good, save and exit. Okay, yes. So now we'll wait for this thing to boot back up, and then we'll test the keyboard. So the letter N wasn't working before. I can see that the keyboard backlight is on, so that's a good sign. All right, we're gonna wait for this. And then let's try typing Notepad. Let's open the desktop. Okay, it did let me type the word Notepad, so that's a lot better already. I'm gonna try typing, I think their touchscreen is going weird or something. It's making these blue boxes around the thing. Alright, so let's try the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Period 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, 0 dash hyphen equals these close parentheses, that dash, this 1, 2, 3, those three. Arrow keys are working, enter keys working, shift key on the left, shift key on the right's working, caps lock. Okay, caps lock is kind of laggy, but it works. That's weird. Oh, I think they enabled some of those things where you have to like press it multiple times. Tab key works, shift, okay, I already did that. Control on this side, control on this side works. Windows key works, alt key works, other alt key also works. Oh yeah, okay, they turned on narrator, so I'm gonna have to turn that off. Okay, that's what happened. Okay, they had narrator turned on, and it was putting boxes around, I guess, trying to read things. Alright, this special character key works. I think we are good to go, because if all of that works, I think everything else should work. Let's try numlock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Plus, minus, multiplication, division, 0, period here. All of these seem to be working. Page up, page down. Actually, I'm going to have to page up, page down. Okay, that's working. Home and home. Can't see. Okay, those are all. Looks like everything's working. Okay, caps lock looks like it's okay now after turning off the narrator. And then this key changes the brightness of the keyboard backlight. Looks like it works. Okay, we're good to go. And that should be it. And this key also works. So there we go. I just typed that. Quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog with all the little characters, shift keys, and everything. And that's pretty much it. So hopefully this video helped you guys. I'm going to put the thing back together. Let me actually go to so the ease of access center. This is what was screwing it up with the narrator. Usually this should be off. And usually I'll turn off all of this stuff. Turn off the high contrast, turn off narrator. So the narrator was on, so I had to turn that off. And that should hopefully fix that keyboard thing. Make sure sticky keys, I'm going to turn off mouse keys and all these sticky key things I always disable these shortcuts. So I did them earlier because I had a feeling those were causing problems. But I missed the narrator one, so now it looks like I got it. That looks good. Okay, so that should be it. Again, hopefully this video helped you guys. If it did, like and subscribe. Help others find my videos. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. If you want, you can stay while I put back the rest of the screws, but that's pretty much it. Looks like we are good. Alright, let's put back in all these screws. Using, oh, we do have to switch back to the PH0 or JIS0 screwdriver. Alright, let's get back in all these screws. Okay, this video is probably going to take a while to merge all the two, but okay. If I can't merge it, it's going to be part 1 and part 2, so if you're wondering why it started in the middle of nowhere, you probably have to look for part 1, but we'll see. I'm going to try and hopefully merge it. My phone only lets me merge, I think, up to an hour and a half or something. Okay. Alright, so there we go. Again, thanks for watching. Make sure like and subscribe, help others find my videos so that they can fix their computers as well. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!